I brought you the first printed book with American baseball rules.
It's really cool. It's a cool sports collectible. It's a cool book.
This book is amongst the most rare books in the world of baseball.
Wow, it's great to hear.
I have an 1886 Winchester rifle.
This is a classic American rifle, the gun that won the West. And that's why we always check to see if they're loaded.
A customer brings in a 1916 to 1920 Ives electric train set found in a 120-year-old house attic. Rick is impressed, launching into a history lesson about the company's rise and bankruptcy. He even drops the fun fact that Neil Young now co-owns Lionel Trains. The seller is knowledgeable and firm on his price, making this a classic clash between a well-informed collector and the pawn shop's bottom line.
I have a 1916 to 1920 Ives train set.
Pops, how come you never got me a toy this cool?
Because I never really loved you.
I want to sell them because I can use the money.
The train seller asks for $850, and Rick tries to counter with $750. The seller stands firm, saying he really thinks it's worth $850. Rick, hilariously exasperated, mutters, "I hate it when people know what they got." He ultimately agrees to the full $850, a rare immediate surrender that shows just how solid the seller's valuation was. Rick also insists that the box stays with the deal, refusing to let the seller keep it.
How about $750?
No, I'll stick with $850. I really think it's worth a lot more than that. You guys will do all right on this, I promise you.
God, I hate it when people know what they got.
I really think it's worth $850.
A new customer arrives with a bizarre item, an 1862 stamp coin. He explains he found it as a kid in an antique cash register. He needs money because his band gear was stolen. Rick identifies it as a trade token with a very old George Washington stamp inside. His big concern is that the stamp was trimmed to fit, potentially destroying its value, so he immediately calls for an expert opinion.
Well, when I was a kid, I went to a hardware store with my dad, and it had an old antique register, and I was messing with it, and I opened it up, and there it was, and the lady was behind the counter, said I can have it.
So do you know anything about it?
I was on the internet checking out the history about it, and they said it was real old, and I can get a lot of money for it.
The scene shifts to a 1980 Datsun 280 ZX 10th Anniversary Edition, one of only 500 in this red and black color. The owner proudly calls it a piece of history. Rick acknowledges it was a cool, desirable car in its day, but the owner's questionable paint job is immediately roasted by Rick with a classic 20 feet away, 20 miles an hour comment, setting a skeptical tone for the inspection.
They made 3,000, 2,500 were gold and black, and 500 were red and black.
Who in the world painted this thing last?
That was myself.
Nothing personal.
It's called a 2020. 20 feet away, 20 mile an hour, looks damn good.
The owner starts the Datsun, and it immediately sounds rough, misfiring. He dismisses it as just being cold-blooded and needing a simple tune-up. Rick is visibly concerned, saying he knows when something doesn't sound right. The owner then drops a massive asking price of $28,000, which Rick and the old man instantly reject as a complete waste of time, creating a huge valuation chasm.
Sounds like it's got a miss on it. It's not firing on one cylinder.
They are cold-blooded when they first start. The Datsuns always were. It's just a tune-up. That's all it needs.
I may not be a mechanic, but I just know when something doesn't sound right.
Rick delivers a brutal reality check, stating a perfect version is worth $60,000, but this one needs $35,000 in restoration. He values it in its current state at just $4,000. The owner, desperate and saying, "I need the money," shockingly agrees to the $4,000. This sudden acceptance makes Rick even more suspicious, prompting him to call mechanic Fatback for a final definitive inspection.
Would you go to 10?
No.
Would you come up any?
None.
None. Not even to $5,000.
No.
Well, I need the money, so I'd go for $4,000.
Okay.
Dude, you're not gonna buy this car.
Fatback starts the car and confirms it's missing and doesn't sound too healthy. He takes it for a test drive while Rick sweats the potential financial risk. The tension builds as the fate of the $4,000 deal hinges entirely on this mechanic's verdict. This is the moment of truth, where a seemingly great deal could instantly transform into a massive money pit.
It doesn't sound too healthy, man.
It just needs a tune-up.
I think it needs a little more than a tune-up.
No, I drove it 80 miles and it didn't miss a tick.
Well, I'm not doubting that it'll drive, but just how well it'll drive. Would you mind if I took it around the block to like try it out just to make sure? I mean,
give it a whirl.
Fatback returns with the devastating verdict. He says the transmission is slipping. It sounds like a popcorn machine and has an exhaust leak. His final advice is, I wouldn't get into it. The owner is furious, calling it a crock and accusing Rick of looking for a reason to bail. Rick stands by his expert, and the deal is dead. A classic Pawn Star's dream car turned nightmare.
I mean, the transmission's slipping. It sounds like a popcorn machine. Some kind of leak in the exhaust. I mean, you're talking a lot of
That
lot of
transmission
money.
doesn't slip on.
It slips and then it hits into gear like really hard. I wouldn't get into it. That's definitely my opinion.
A customer brings in an incredible piece of cinema history, the final draft screenplay of Goldfinger. He reveals an amazing personal connection, stating it was given to him by Harold Sakata, the actor who played Oddjob. He even has a photo with the iconic villain. This isn't just a script, it's a personal memento from one of James Bond's most legendary henchmen, instantly adding a layer of awesome provenance.
Powers, let me see it.
Goldfinger, not Goldmember. It was a movie back in the 60s with Sean Connery was James Bond.
Chris Brosnan's James Bond, everybody knows that.
I'm not sure of the value because I've had it for 38 years.
Chumley, in a hilarious moment, tries to act out a scene from the script, offering to play the guy who doesn't talk like Oddjob. Rick shuts him down instantly, saying, "We don't have time. Plus, I don't think I could stand to watch it." The seller asks for $1,000, but Rick confidently offers $500, which the seller immediately accepts, making this one of the smoothest deals ever.
No, you couldn't do that.
I'll play the guy who doesn't talk.
We don't have time. Plus, I don't think I could stand to watch it.
Check this out. How much do you want for this?
I'd like $1,000.
What are you doing?
I'm acting. Pretty good, huh? Pretty good.
The stamp coin expert reveals the item's incredible history. It's an 1862 encased postage stamp by John Galt, used as currency during the Civil War. He explains only 34 merchants ever bought these ads, making the White the Hatter token incredibly rare. He then delivers the stunning appraisal. This little piece of history is worth between $4,000 and $6,000, a life-changing amount for the struggling musician.
I need it right now, so,
Well, I'll give you 3 cents for it.
nah.
I'll give you 5 cents. Come on. So what's this thing worth, man?
Well, it's a wonderful piece. The stamp is nicely well-centered, and it's also pretty bright.
The negotiation for the encased stamp begins. The seller, now knowing its value, asks for $4,500. Rick, the master negotiator, lowballs him at $2,000. They haggle back and forth until they finally settle on $2,300. The seller is thrilled, exclaiming he can buy new band gear. It's a fantastic win-win, proving that sometimes the most unassuming items can be literal hidden treasure.
I'm thinking $4,500.
Realistically.
Come on, you heard the specialist.
I'll give you $2,000 for it.
Two G's. How about $3,500?
How about $2,000?
Come on, work with me. 23.
A woman brings in a tricycle she claims is from the 1800s, preserved in her family's basement. Rick is skeptical, pointing out a vinyl seat, non-operational pedals, and mismatched parts. He concludes it's a reproduction decorative piece, not a genuine antique. Despite her insistence, he passes on it. She leaves convinced he's wrong, a classic example of sentimental value clashing with harsh expert reality.
Tricycles were insanely popular in the late 1800s. They were considered way more upper class than bikes. Part of it being that they considered them much more comfortable to ride. I'm just glad things changed though, because seeing Lance Armstrong win the Tour de France on a tricycle is just something I don't want to see.
A customer brings in an 1849 Colt pocket revolver, a rare gun favored by gold miners for its concealability. Rick is fascinated, noting it's in good shape and even deducing the original owner was likely left-handed from the wear patterns. The seller asks for $1,000, but Rick immediately spots a major flaw that will drastically affect the value and the ensuing negotiation.
Cool thing about this gun is this is right when they came out with the Revolver. It was high tech at the time. Before this was a single shot, ramrod.
Rick, what I understand is a lot of gold miners carried these in their pocket.
Yeah, a lot of people out west carried them. There was no law.
Rick delivers the bad news. Someone cleaned the hell out of this thing with a wire brush, destroying the original patina that collectors crave. He calls this destruction, not restoration. Because of this damage, he can only offer $200. The seller tries to haggle, but Rick only goes up to $300, warning he might be overpaying. The seller accepts, and Rick later admits he's worried he paid too much.
That's damn near half the value of the gun right there.
I did a little of that with a wire brush.
Okay. You don't take an antique gun or any other antique and take a wire brush to it. It's not restoration, it's destruction.
In a risky move, Corey is looking at a 27-foot 1984 Chris Craft Speedboat. The seller admits it needs work on an outdrive and has electrical problems. Corey, ignoring his dad's famous wisdom that boats are a hole in the water you throw money into, is enamored. He loves the boat's history and the fact it can supposedly go over 70 miles per hour, setting up a major family conflict.
So what can you tell me about it, man?
It's 27 feet. It's got twin 350s, two 140 blowers.
So what are you trying to do with it, man? Sell it or pawn it?
No, I want to sell it. It needs a little bit more work.
The boat seller asks for $25,000, but Corey offers $12,000. They negotiate and finally settle on $16,500. Corey is thrilled, believing the boat is easily worth $30,000. He didn't test drive it, a critical mistake, the one type of asset they explicitly avoid.
The problem I'm gonna have, man, is I just don't know how much money's gonna need to be put into it. As the way it sits now, man, I mean, I could probably offer you 12.
We're gonna have to step it up a little bit from there, brother.
Well, tell me what you're thinking, man, and don't tell me 25. That's...
Rick explodes at Corey for buying the boat without permission or a test drive. Corey defiantly says, "It's my money." But Rick corrects him, "It's the store's money." The old man backs Rick up, stating the rule is they test everything. The tension is palpable as Rick warns that a few stupid decisions like this can sink a company, a serious threat to Corey's position in the family business.
No, I didn't test drive. It's a Chris Craft. The thing's worth like 30 grand.
I could give a it's a Criff cast. Doesn't spend that kind of money until he asks me first. Don't ask the old man, don't ask anybody else, you ask me.
Rick takes the 1849 Revolver to an expert, Johnny. The verdict is brutal. Johnny confirms the wire brush cleaning destroyed its value and notes it has missing parts, a non-rotating cylinder, and is completely non-functional. He jokes the only restoration would be to bury it to get a new patina. Even a proper restoration would cost thousands, meaning Rick has definitely lost money on this purchase.
Your locking wedge is gone here.
Yeah.
Cylinder don't rotate.
Yeah.
All gummed up, and yeah, can't be done.
What can I say? I took a shot on this gun, and it backfired on me. So what do you think I should do with it?
Well,
a new customer brings in an incredibly rare 1954 Gretsch Rancher guitar, one of only 10 made. The killer provenance is that Robert Duvall played it in the film Tender Mercies, for which he won his first Oscar. The seller has photos to prove it. This is a museum-quality piece with a fantastic Hollywood story, making it one of the most unique items to ever enter the shop.
The history they represent, they're great to look at. They're superior to anything that's been built here in the United States for many years.
So tell me about this guitar.
This is a 1954 Gretsch Rancher.
Do you know how many they made?
Around 10 total production that year.
Okay.
The guitar seller asks for $10,000. Rick acknowledges it's a one-of-a-kind item worth the money, but explains his customer base doesn't support that price. He makes a low offer of $4,000, which the seller rejects, saying he can get at least $8,000 elsewhere. Rick wisely passes, advising him to take it to a high-end auction like Sotheby's, a rare moment of turning away a great item.
I mean, it's worth the money, but I don't have that kind of customers that come in here on a regular basis.
Okay.
I'd love to have it, but if I pay what he wants, there's no way I can make money. All right, I'll give you $4 grand for it.
That's not quite enough.
Rick takes the boat to his mechanic buddy, Bill, who is stunned Corey bought it without even starting the engines. Bill confirms it's a history-making American classic, a Chris Craft like those used on Miami Vice. He says if fixed up, it could be worth over $30,000. But this is a huge if, and the phrase "bust out another $1,000" looms over the entire stressful situation.
I really hope I didn't just blow 16 grand. The good news is, if there's anybody who could fix this boat, it's Bill. The bad news is, I just still don't know what it's gonna cost to fix this thing. I mean, if we don't make money on this boat, I don't know how I'm gonna face my dad and the old man. I mean, they're gonna kill me.
An art collector brings in 3 signed Salvador Dali woodcut prints from 1967, part of the Divine Comedy series. Rick is impressed, noting these are from the good period before Dali's work became hideous and all about money. The seller has provenance from a gallery and appraisals valuing them at up to $15,000 each, setting the stage for a high-stakes art negotiation.
I understand this business buys fine art. They have experts that can appraise it very well. They're valued at $15,000 a piece, and I'm hoping to get close to that price.
All right, so tell me about them.
So these are woodcut prints, the Divine Comedy series, which has over 47 prints.
The Dali seller suggests $7,500 per print. Rick counters with $5,000 each. The seller, who is not desperate for money, stands firm at $6,000. Rick tries $5,500, but the seller won't budge. Because the margin for profit would be too thin, Rick has to let this beautiful and authentic art walk away. Another example of a great item not making financial sense for the shop.
Can you go $5 grand a piece on them?
You know, it's a tempting offer, but I can't do that. You know, I'm selling them because I don't have the space for them. I'm not selling them because I'm desperate to pay the mortgage or something. So how about six? Six a piece. I mean, they're in immaculate condition.
I mean, they are really nice.
The moment of truth for the boat arrives. Bill reveals the total repair cost was only about $4,000. Rick is massively relieved, saying he thought it would be horrendous. Bill estimates the boat can now sell for over $30,000, meaning a potential profit of nearly $10,000 after the purchase and repairs. This turns Corey's reckless gamble into a stunning, lucky success, saving him from his father's wrath.
So what's the damage?
You spent about $4,000.
Ah, that's not bad at all, dude.
Oh, good. I thought it was going to be just something horrendous.
When Rick realized he only spent $4,000 on the boat, I thought he was going to kiss me.
Despite the financial victory, Rick makes it clear the problem was Corey's unilateral decision-making. He states that Corey has really got to talk to me or the old man before making such big moves again. The episode ends with the boat looking fantastic and ready for a sale, proving that even a broken clock is right twice a day, but that doesn't make its method reliable.
But Corey has really got to talk to me or the old man before he makes these kind of decisions again.
You ready to go for a ride?
Definitely.
Back in the day when this boat came out, it was cutting edge. These are the boats you used to see on Miami Vice.
I would never have second thoughts about buying another boat. Who could not like this?
A customer brings in a Winchester Model 1860 Henry rifle, a gun so revolutionary the South called it that damn Yankee gun. Rick explains its historical significance, noting a trained soldier could fire 28 rounds a minute. The seller wants $40,000, confident it's a fair price for such an iconic piece of American firearms history that helped cement the Winchester name. The stage is set for a high-stakes negotiation.
It is a Winchester Model 1860 Henry rifle.
This one is what the South called that damn Yankee gun that you load on Sunday and shoot till Thursday.
Is that a cheap price? No. But is it a fair price? Yes.
Rick examines the rifle's bore and finds a major issue. There's only a micro amount of rifling left, meaning it's been shot extensively. This significant wear drastically impacts the value for collectors. When the seller reiterates his $40,000 price, Rick immediately lowballs him with an offer of just $20,000. The seller is taken aback, stating he's not even close to that number, creating a massive valuation gap.
There's a micro amount of boring left, of rifling left, yeah. You know, someone will complain about that rifling. This thing has been shot a lot. How much do you want for it?
$40,000.
I just think your price is really steep.
In a wild shift, another customer presents what she claims are 2 dinosaur eggs, asking $20,000. Corey is hilariously out of his depth, admitting he's not a paleontologist but noting they kind of look like eggs if they've been flattened. He wisely calls an expert, joking that he'd be pissed if I let a fossilized T-Rex egg walk out the door, showcasing the bizarre and wonderful items that come into the shop.
That I don't know. I didn't live back then. If they're dinosaur eggs, I think that they're worth that much because they're really rare.
You know, normally I would think you were crazy and just brought me in a giant rock, but mind if I take a look at it?
Sure.
I mean, I guess they kind of look like eggs if they've been flattened.
The paleontology expert Tom confirms the eggs are real and a staggering 70 to 80 million years old from a duck-billed dinosaur. However, he drops a bombshell. The 2 eggs were artificially paired together on the stone to make them look like a nest, which devalues them. He explains that while a real pair is valuable, a single egg is much more common on the market, changing the entire valuation.
In the early 1990s, thousands of these eggs came into this country and appeared in many of the markets. And at that time, there was a real excitement about dinosaur eggs. But let's determine that they're real.
Okay.
The first thing I'm going to look for is a uniformity in the thickness of the shell.
The expert delivers the final valuation, and it's a fraction of the asking price. He says the market is flooded, and these eggs are now worth only $300 to $600 each. The seller is visibly disappointed, noting it's a big difference from the $20,000 she hoped for. This is a classic Pawn Stars moment where a dream of vast wealth is brought down to a much more modest, realistic figure.
The value of these eggs is nowhere near what they were in the early years because there are actually tens of thousands of these eggs on the international market today. I see these made available anywhere from maybe $300 to $600 an egg in this condition.
Corey, armed with the expert's appraisal, offers the seller $400 for both eggs. She counters, asking for $800. Corey explains his business model, saying he might have to lower the price over time if they don't sell. He eventually raises his final offer to $500, which the seller, albeit reluctantly, accepts. It's a fair deal based on the new information, though far from her initial dream.
So I'd offer you $400.
Can you do 800?
I really can't. You know, I mean, figuring the most I'm going to be able to get out of these is 12. And a year from now, if they're sitting here, I'm going to knock them down to...
At Rick's garage sale, Chum tries to sell him some 1980s wrestling figures. Rick, the master negotiator, attempts to lecture Chum on the history of wrestling, but Chum sees right through it, accusing him of trying to lowball. Chum firmly sets his price at $50 and tells Rick to take it or leave it. Rick pays up, admitting later he was going to pay more but was put off by Chum's attitude.
Figured I'd stop by and look at your yard sale.
Well, I hope you're here to buy something because I don't really have a lot of time to be talking to someone who's not a customer.
Okay. Hey, these are cool.
Yeah, wrestling, 1980s.
A barber arrives with an incredible 1800s wooden Coke-style barber chair. He even offers Rick a trim on the spot. The seller hopes to get around $5,000. Rick is intrigued but notes it needs a lot of work, from the worn chrome to the dated fabric. He knows restoration is key to its value, so he calls in an expert to get a quote before making any serious offer.
I got my tools in the car. I can give you a little trim right now if you want.
What, this?
Eyebrows, something, you know? I'll hook you up. I'll make you look good. The least I'd take is probably like $3,500.
I imagine this was put in storage a long time ago because there's next to no wear on it.
Restoration expert Bob breaks down the cost to make the chair look brand new. He details needing new black leather upholstery, replating all the chrome, and refinishing the wood. He also notes the hydraulics only work partially. His final estimate for the full, show-stopping restoration is $2,500, a significant investment that Rick must now factor into his potential purchase price for the chair.
I got a nice half hide, beautiful black leather I've been saving for a real nice project. The plating all has to be done. Because you're doing the upholstery, because you're doing the plating, you gotta do the wood. Your worst part on the wood is right here, where it's a little worn.
Bob gives the before and after value. The chair is worth $1,200 to $1,500 as is, but a full restoration could make it worth $5,000 to $6,000. With this info, Rick makes his move, offering the seller $1,500. The seller counters at $4,000, but Rick explains that after the $2,500 restoration cost, his profit margin would be too thin, showing the hard math behind the pawn shop's offers.
As you first hit it with your eye, it don't look that spectacular, because that upholstery kills it. Probably $1,200 to $1,500 as it sits. Done, you're gonna wow somebody, and you're gonna get $5,000 to $6,000.
All right, man, I'll give you a call if I get it.
Okay, good enough, Rick. Nice to meet you.
You too, thank you.
Take care.
Rick raises his offer to $2,000, calling it all the money. The seller stands firm at $3,500, the lowest he can go. With a gap of $1,500 between them, a deal is impossible. The seller decides to leave, planning to restore the chair himself and hopefully return for a better offer later. It's a clean, professional pass on a cool but financially risky item.
I mean, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $2,000 for it, and that's more than it's worth. I mean, it's the oldest barber chair I've ever had, and it would be something really cool in the shop.
$3,800?
Give you $2,000. That is all the money, dude. $2,000.
The episode ends with a hilarious twist. Rick sees Chum has priced the wrestling set he just bought for $50 at a whopping $500 for the garage sale. Rick confronts him, and Chum reveals his master plan. Because Rick was rude and didn't let him explain the value, Chum is now keeping all the profit. It's a perfect petty revenge that shows even Chum learns a trick or two.
Roddy Piper.
That's right.
You got them for sale, huh? For how much?
$500.
What?
What?
You gave me 50 bucks for them.
Well, I was going to pay you more money, and I was going to explain to you why they were worth more money.
A customer named Adam brings in an incredible piece of sports history. The 1834 Book of Sports, the first printed book with American baseball rules. He calls it the birth certificate for America's national pastime. Rick is intrigued but admits he knows nothing about its value, immediately deciding to call in a sports memorabilia expert. The seller is asking $6,000 for this potentially groundbreaking artifact.
I'm not going to throw you a curve with this one.
Okay.
I brought you the first printed book with American baseball rules. I can promise you it's not a price out of the ballpark.
Stick with books, stay away from comedy, dude.
The seller points out the book's most significant feature, the first printed diagram of the baseball diamond. Rick provides context, noting the game became popular during the Civil War, but this book predates that by a full generation. The book also includes other games like hopscotch, but the baseball rules are its claim to fame. Its rarity and profound historical significance set the stage for a major appraisal.
This game sort of slowly popped up, and it really got popular during the Civil War. You didn't fight every day, got to do something, so they'd start playing baseball.
So this is a full generation even before the Civil War. So that shows you how early this book is in terms of the history of American baseball.
A returning customer brings in a Civil War drum, a family heirloom from his antique dealer father. He wants it to go to someone who will appreciate it and asks $12,000. Rick notes its historical use for battlefield commands, often carried by young boys in a gnarly job. However, Rick immediately spots post-1900 hardware and repairs, casting doubt on its authenticity and value right from the start.
Go to somebody that can really appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely cool, man. The way it was, when you were out on the battlefield, they would have a different drum beat for different commands. Attack, retreat, move left, move right. Generally, younger boys would be carrying these around.
Rick calls in a Civil War expert to inspect the drum. The expert shares the chilling fact that the youngest Civil War drummer was a 9-year-old boy. He explains the drummer's vital and dangerous role on the battlefield. The tension builds as he examines the drum, with everyone waiting to hear if this is a genuine piece of Civil War history or a later reproduction.
A fellow named John Galt, he was a little tiny kid.
Sure.
You know, and you look at him, you were on the battlefield. The bombs going off and the bullets flying, beating on the drum to make sure that the regiments were going where the general wanted them to go.
The expert delivers his verdict. The drum is not from the Civil War. He believes it's from the 1870s or 1880s, likely used as a parade drum afterward. This completely changes the item's story and value. The customer's narrative of a battlefield relic is dismantled, transforming it into a post-war parade item, which is far less desirable to collectors and has a much lower market value.
I think this is a later piece. My guess is 1870s, 1880s. And this looks to me like one that would have been used as a parade drum post-Civil War. It's still 19th century, I'm sure of that.
Rick explains how the changed story affects the price. It's no longer a young boy in battle story, but a parade every few months story. The seller drops his price to $1,000. They haggle and finally settle on $950. The seller accepts, citing that the drum takes up too much space, a practical end to a negotiation that saw his asking price slashed by over 90%.
The story previously was you had a young boy in battle during the Civil War. We have now the story is once every 4 or 5 months, they pulled this drum out and they paraded down the street. Those are the differences between them, and those are the differences people pay.
A customer shows Corey a vintage cast iron ice shaver from the 1930s or 40s. The man, who is from another country, says it reminds him of a drink called Hollow. Corey explains how it works and the simple joy it would have brought. The seller's motivation is heartfelt. He wants to sell it to buy plane tickets to see his son, adding a personal stake to the deal.
Yeah, I used to go to garage sales. Now I kind of live in one here, so.
There's a little rust on the side, and I don't want to have to get a tetanus shot.
So do you know how old it is?
I don't, actually. I found one similar online. It was from 1943. It's made in Japan, but it looked just like this.
The seller mentions he saw a similar one online for $900. Corey is skeptical, though he can see it in a retro diner. He makes an initial offer of $300. They negotiate and agree on $350. The seller is happy, as the profit will help him visit his son. It's a warm, human moment where a simple vintage item facilitates a family reunion.
I want to get rid of it, maybe get a couple plane tickets so I can see my son. I was actually looking online. There was one made in Japan, just look exactly like this. They were selling that for I think $9, I believe. So.
For $900?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, man, I could see possibly selling this to somebody who had like a 50s themed diner.
Sports expert Jeremy authenticates the baseball book, calling it a truly awesome and amongst the most rare books in baseball. He highlights key features, like the early diamond diagram and rules where you could get a runner out by throwing the ball at them, calling it baseball/dodgeball. His excitement confirms the book's monumental significance, but he defers to a book expert for a precise value.
You know, the term baseball had been around before this book, but what this book did, it brought together baseball, diamond, some of the rules, and, you know, had the illustration of the boys playing. So it was just such an important piece relative to, you know, the evolution of the sport that would happen thereafter.
A customer brings in a 1932 Bridgewater's corkscrew, the king daddy of corkscrews, made in anticipation of Prohibition's end. It comes in a coffin-shaped box with a figure of the hated Prohibition architect, Volstead. Chumley demonstrates his surprising historical knowledge, explaining how Prohibition created widespread crime. The item is a unique piece of Prohibition pawn, a tangible artifact from a transformative era in American history.
All right. I guess even back in the day, they were popping bottles.
I've ever seen, and probably most people have ever seen.
This is pretty cool, man. In the 1920s, Prohibition wasn't really thought of as Prohibition. It was the Volstead Act.
Right.
They were trying to get it passed, and no one really thought it was ever going to get passed.
The corkscrew seller asks for $1,100. Chumley lowballs him at $150, a classic Pawn Stars opening move. They haggle back and forth, with the seller coming down to $550. Chumley stands firm, eventually getting the seller to agree to $325. The seller reveals he bought it for $125 years ago, so he's still making a profit, a common theme for sellers in the shop.
And again, you know, condition is everything in this kind of a market.
It is, but I just don't see it bringing nowhere near that.
Where are you at then?
Man, I'm looking at like $150.
Can you get up close to $850?
No, I really couldn't, man. Maybe $300.
I tell you what.
Book expert Rebecca appraises the baseball book. She confirms its landmark status as it brings all the early American baseball elements together. She notes its good condition for its age and provides a retail value of $7,500 to $8,500. This gives Rick the crucial information he needs to make an informed offer, knowing the book's true potential worth in the collector's market.
Is a landmark because it brings all of those things together, specifically from an American perspective.
Okay.
I like it too, just because you've got all these other games in here.
Rick makes his initial offer of $3,500. The seller counters at $4,500, citing Rebecca's appraisal. Rick argues that retail is a long process and settles in the middle at $4,000. The seller agrees, happy with the fair price. He makes a corny joke about sliding into home, and Rick tells him to stop, ending the deal on a successful and humorous note.
I mean, you heard what Rebecca said, it can go up to $7,500.
I know, but that's in a retail price here, and you understand retail is long and involved.
Sure. I don't even want to beat you up this time. So what about $4,500?
It's a great book.